Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We find ourselves at the Lest We Forget World War II Museum in Louisville, Texas. I would like to relay an experience that I had a few weeks ago. I was fortunate enough to go to the Netherlands to attend the Militracks festival in Overloon, Netherlands. Militracks is to put it in American terms, it's a car show in the forest for German vehicles from World War II. And let me tell you, guys, there's hundreds of them there. It's overwhelming to see all these German vehicles crisscrossing, running back and forth, pulling up with loads of people, them piling out, another group piling in, and them taking off. And it's like a 1.6 kilometer trek through the forest. So I attended with my brother and son, and I have to tell you, I had a grand time. So I tried to go last year. I had difficulties purchasing tickets for whatever reason with the credit card platform. So I figured I'd just buy them when I got to the Netherlands. And when I arrived in the Netherlands, they were sold out. So this year I bought multiple tickets in advance, more than necessary. We went in, but come to find out you have to buy tickets to ride on the vehicles. And there's a big digital board that says there's 24 tickets left and there's 300 people in line. So, anyway, we walked around and it's got a great museum. I'll show you some stills here of the museum. We were sitting outside eating sausage and my brother's drinking beer when we end up talking to two German guys. They're sitting at a table, and I asked them to move over so that we can sit down. And I hear them speaking. I said, "Are y'all German?" And they said, "We're from dark Germany, Dunkeldeutschland." Dunkeldeutschland is dark Germany is the old communist zone. That was what it was called back when it was still communist. So anyway, we talked with these guys, and they were very kind, and we got along good. It was a father and son. And so we walked around with them for a little bit, but it was so crowded there. There was probably 10,000 people at this gathering. It was extremely crowded. It was like being in Hong Kong again. I mean, it was extremely crowded. So we eventually lost them in the crowd somewhere, and we're sitting down eating when they show up. And there's another group of Germans just adjacent to us. It's a jovial group. They're drinking and having a good time. And, I can hear them speaking German. And so these East Germans whisper over to me. They say, "Those guys are from Berlin." I said, "Oh, yeah, how do you know?" They said, "We can tell from their accent. Either that or it's Brandenburg." I said, "All right." So I like to mix it up. So I get up and I go over there and I start cracking jokes about something, I don't know, Berlin, but I get into a conversation with them, so they're like, "Who are you?" And I tell them I'm George from Texas, and they're like, "Huh? Well, why do you speak German?" Anyway, so, because it was preordained, so, because I gave it a lot of work to learn. So we started cutting up, and I went back and I sat down with my people, and one of those guys, I think it was Alexander, if I remember right, nice guy, came over and sat with us, and we were having a good time, drinking beer, talking about how we're not fighting each other, and that they had all the good equipment that they've come back to reclaim. He was joking, saying, "We've come back to get our equipment," that they had the best stuff. And I said, "Yeah, but you didn't make enough of it." So we were complaining that we didn't get to ride on any vehicles, that there was just no way to get a ticket. And he said, "Well, my brother's got a vehicle, and I bet he could get you a ride." And so he said, "You wait, my brother will be here in a little bit." It's like it's his big brother or something, and he admired him. And so, which might not be the case, I don't know. But his brother showed up, nice guy, and he sat down. So we're, drinking beers and shooting the shit. And I'm the bridge. I can translate. And my son William can translate. But other than that, none of the Germans speak English, and none of the English, or my brother doesn't speak German. So my brother keeps getting up and going and buying arms full of Heineken beers and sitting down and handing them to the Germans. You know, my brother Jack likes to drink, and he likes to have somebody to drink with. And the Germans, I think, are pretty much the same way. So we're cutting it up and having a good time. And after a little while, I think Mario's probably had a couple, 3 beers. He gets up and he says, "Come on, follow me." Huh? You know, I get a little nervous when a German says, "Follow me." Where are we going, Poland? So he takes us over to the vehicle area, and he just opens up the gate and walks through, or not the gate, but the fence. He just walks through and says, "Come on." And so my brother and my son and I run through, and those 2 East German guys are kind of hanging back, you know, because they don't know what to do. And so I say, "Come on, man, let's go," you know. And so all of us are inside. And so Mario flags down a vehicle, and I guess it's a buddy of his, and he talks to him, and they've got people in it. Mario talks to this guy, and the guy stops, and all those people pile out of the half track, and Mario says, "Einsteigen," you know, get in. Huh? Well, we didn't buy it. Okay. So they open up the back of it, and I'll tell you what, as a fat old man, it's not as easy getting in the half track as you'd think. Anyway, we piled in the back of this half track, and we drove the course. And I hope Mitch will show some of the video of the course. But we're trucking along, and all of a sudden, up on the right-hand side, there's a T-34. Rut-row. You know, I see the silhouette. But as we get close, I can see it's painted in dark, muddy gray, and it's got a Balkan cross on it. I mean, it's a German captured vehicle, or it's a Russian captured vehicle that the Germans are using, which was not uncommon. So as you drive through the forest on that trek, you can see all the guys that are taking breaks. They've got their vehicles parked, and they're out, you know, eating sandwiches and drinking beer. It was a great time, and I want to give a special shout out to Mario. Mario, ich bedanke mich ganz, man, I can't remember how to say it anymore. Ganz herzlich. Mario, ich bedanke mich ganz herzlich. Das war wahnsinnig lieb, was du gemacht hast, dass du uns mitgenommen hast. Das hat wirklich einen riesen Unterschied in unserer Reise ausgemacht. Ich danke dir. So, Mario, thank you very much for getting us in the vehicle. So after we took the trip in the vehicle, I kind of felt bad because those East German guys didn't get in. But, you know, it all happened pretty quick, and I piled in and they took off. What am I going to do? You know, I'm a guest. So we get out, and those East German guys are looking at us, and I'm like, hey. Anyway, so we hung out. We didn't vacate the area where all the vehicles were. We hung out and milled around the vehicles. And this Kettenkrad, if y'all don't know what a Kettenkrad is, Mitch, here's a picture of a Kettenkrad, which is a very cool vehicle. This Kettenkrad pulls up, and so I'm trying to learn Dutch while I'm there. And so I start trying to speak to the guy in the Dutch, and the guy says, you know, "I'm German." Okay, well, woher, you know, where are you from? So he looks at me, you know. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, y'all might not know it, but I studied and worked in Germany, therefore I speak fluent German. So I start talking to this guy, and he's from Bavaria. Well, all right, Bavaria, you know, I'm a Texan, so I'm a Bavarian in Texas, and he's a Texan in Bavaria. They're very similar. In any event, so we're cutting it up, and I say, "Man, I need a ride in this thing." He goes, "Oh, we're pretty much done, you know, and it doesn't belong to me. I got to ask somebody." I said, "Well, ask him, because I'd love to ride in this." And so he's kind enough, and he asks, and the guy says, "Yeah, all right." And so my brother Jack and I jump on the back of this thing, and he buzzes off. And I mean, these little Kettenkrad, it's just a little bitty thing. It's a half motorcycle, half tank, but it hauls ass. I mean, I bet we were doing 30 miles an hour, and all of a sudden running across that field, muddy field. We came back, and I said, "Well, hey, you know, my son didn't get a ride, and I can't take a ride if my son didn't get a ride." And so my son had been speaking German to him. So, you know, hey, if you speak their language, they're a lot more open and they're a lot more friendly. So he said, "Get on." So I got to ride it twice, and my son William got on, and we buzzed around and came back. So on that afternoon, I got to ride in a half track. Here's a picture of it. And here's Mario. Shout out to Mario. And I got to ride in a Kettenkrad, which was super cool. And guys, all I can say is if you ever get a chance to go to Militracks, which is in the Netherlands in May, about May 15th, around then, do it. It's an experience of a lifetime. I mean, you just can't believe how many German vehicles are there.